What are you wearing?
A Canadian tuxedo.
Canadian.
I'm a hockey player. Let's go Blues.
Let's go Blues.
Let's go Blues.
To all you Blues fans, we're bleeding blue with you. Let's go Blues! Let's go Blues! Let's go Blues!
BlueNote Fan Report. Hello. I am Guy, and I am your host on the show that is about the fan. That's right. We talk all about you and how you feel and what you think. And we are more than happy to be here today. You get a special second show today. I kind of tried to do unboxing today, and I botched that all to hell. Knocked my soda over and spilled soda on the carpet. Had to go get that cleaned up and just a mess. And, you know, that is what it is, and it is what it is, what it is, what it is. That's right. And wow, no one's watching today. Where is everybody? I guess they're all Thursday'd out. No hockey. Big news in hockey today, though. Oh, my goodness. Big news. Austin Mathews will become the highest paid player in the game starting the season after next at $13.5 million per. Wow. When you look at the current salary cap, which is 83.5, right? You're talking about almost 20% of your salary cap, maybe 15% of your salary cap. 15 to 18% of your salary cap going to one player. Now, that's currently. Next season, it could bump up and change that, but it ain't going to change it that much, right? So when we look at it, the current salary cap is 83.5, if I remember right. I can probably go look at it, but I think it's 83.5 million, right? Here we go. So, oh man, I just can't do anything right today. So you have 13.5 divided by 83.5. That is 16.16% of your salary going to one guy. Man, I don't know. Look, I get it. Mathews deserves that. And what it tells you, or what it tells me, is how low the salary cap is. I think the salary cap is way lower than what it should be. I don't know if the revenue streams that the NHL reports are correct. I honestly don't, because they're not. They're not reported. That's the thing. And I know a lot of teams have said that unless they make the playoffs, they're not profitable. The problem I have with that is if that's the case, how are all these teams operating? You know, it just gets me that these teams, how long can you operate at a loss, right? Very, very few of these teams are actually owned by an individual. normally they're owned by some type of corporation or group, right? And at some point, that group's not going to pour any more money in. So that is why I have a hard time believing that these groups aren't making money. Now, one thing that you have to understand is different ways that these groups make money. The majority of these groups have some type of ownership in the arenas that they play in. For example, I don't think that the Blues absolutely own Enterprise Center, but they have a large stake in it, and I think they operate it. Well, when you say that, the non-hockey events that are there generate revenue, right? They generate revenue. Well, that revenue isn't reported as hockey revenue. But in many cases, it's going into the hockey team's pockets. And because of that, that is the one area where I feel for a team to say it's not profitable, I struggle. Now, right now, the only team that I know has absolutely zero stake, and I mean zero stake, in their arena, and what's held in their arena is the Arizona Coyotes. Because they're playing in a college arena. They have zero stake in that. I know this. But I'm pretty sure that just about every other team has some type of stake or operational in their arena. Right? Now, where this comes into question a little bit will be in some dual arenas, right? Where a basketball team might have more, for example, the Dallas Mavericks. I think that they probably might have more of a stake in their arena than the Dallas Stars do. However, you know, some of that money's, you know, it's got to be going somewhere. And I don't know what I did wrong today. Nobody's watching. I think E. Guido is the only one watching me right now. Yep. You're it, E. You and me. That's it. How sad I am. Wow. I'm wondering if I should even continue. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. I don't know. Wow. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. I wonder if it's even gone out that I'm live. I don't know. See if I can find it here, find something. Oh, I mean, it's there. It says I'm live. Oh, it says stream starting. Maybe I shouldn't use that as the initial picture, because if you click on it, yeah, when you click on it, then it'll go to the live point. Now 2 people are watching because I'm watching me. Oh, man, I suck. Oh, I guess it is what it is. Right? I guess it is what it is. Oh, my goodness. I don't know what to talk about now. Because, you know, in all actuality, it makes no sense to continue what I was going if it's just you, E. I mean, it's great that we're having a conversation, but I don't know, man. I don't know. Let me try something. Oh my goodness. There we go. Oh, Roland showed up. Hey, Roland, 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 Rawhide. Hey, buddy, how are you? Thank you, thank you, thank you. Right now it's you and E, and that might not even be. I don't even know if you're here, to be honest. It's not showing. So if you're here, say hi. What roles are they going to have to fill for this team to get back to winning? Well, it's not specifically roles that have to be filled in my eyes. It's scheme. It's scheme. What scheme are they going to use? And I think that has more to do with it than anything else. You know, everyone looks at this, and everyone, a majority of the fan base looks at this team, and they bang on the defense. But that's picking at a scab to me, right? And what happens when you pick at a scab, right? It takes forever for it to heal unless you treat the underlying cause of the wound, the scab itself, right? And to me, the underlying wound of this team is a lack of an offensive strategy that is consistent with the way the game is being played today. That is what needs to be addressed, right? When I had Matt DeFranks on, the new Post-Dispatch writer, beat writer, when I brought up about the when I brought it up about the team hitting the top of the circles or a little bit further and stopping, he goes, I didn't realize that, or I didn't recognize that. But it was almost every single play, right? It felt like that always happened. This wasn't a one or two time thing. This was a consistent thing. The offensive scheme, and then here's the thing that everybody complained about. They're not forechecking. They don't have a good forecheck. They don't have big enough guys to get in on the forecheck. They weren't even trying to forecheck. That's what everybody missed. It had nothing to do with not having the right people or anything else. They weren't trying to do a forecheck. Absolutely they were not. Because if they were trying to do a forecheck, when they got into there, when they got to that point, they would have thrown that puck down and angled it towards the back of the net to give guys a chance to get down there. Or they'd thrown it around to the guys coming. That's not what happened. They looked for the trailer. Teams knew this. Problem is the trailer never got there. And the trailer never got there is because the guy that got the puck standing still ahead of everybody else. That happened consistently. Game by game, play by play. This was a standard on this team. Hey, Craig. How you doing? This was a standard on this team. And it never changed. When you are excited about the guys on the fourth line, you have an issue. You have a problem. See, Roland, again, this is picking at the scab. right? This is picking at the scab. You come together as a team when you have an offensive and a defensive scheme that works within the team aspect. And I don't think we do, right? How soon can we say bye to Berube? I say it's not until January or February, if at all, till the end of the year. Reason being, he's in the second year of a 3-year contract that pays him $4 million a year. That's $8 million that they have to pay to him no matter what. I don't think they want to pay him that unless he's coaching. I think they can see eating $4 million a lot better than eating $8 million or $10 million or whatever it is until he gets to that point. Right? So Berube's getting approximately $48,700 per game. Let me make sure I'm doing this right. Yeah, it's close. So a little more. So close to 48,800 a game. Right? That's what he makes per game. Now, you got to understand that's how they're paid is per game. Actually, no, he might get paid differently. Right? Coaches might get paid differently. I don't know how he gets paid through the season. But at some point, because like I know that during the offseason he's still getting paid, right? So I don't know how to figure out where he's getting paid or where the league season is and isn't and all of that stuff. But he's still getting paid, okay? And that right there has a lot to do with this team. This team does not have, quote unquote, deep enough pockets to pay 2 coaches. And I don't know. Buddy, I just don't know. And when it comes down to it, here's the thing. The expectation is so low that how bad would he really have to do to get fired? There is no expectation of making the playoffs this season. That has been stated by the general manager. Right? That has a lot to do with it. Craig Maz, Guido, thank you for putting that love in the air. Greatly, greatly, greatly appreciate it. Right? If you got a chance today to watch my live from earlier, I got these today. These are game used Nathan Walker skates. I have a letter of authenticity go with them. Got them for a great price. I got them on the auction. They went a lot less than what I thought they would. In fact, I was surprised I won them even with my bid. I thought when I made my bid, it was going to get beat, and it didn't, and I couldn't believe it. Absolutely couldn't believe it. And it was as high as I was going to go, right? Because I thought these things would go a lot higher. I was hoping to get them on the cheap, and luckily I did. Well, that's the thing right now. This is where Armstrong pride hurts him. Armstrong has a lot of pride, and he's not going to he's not going to eat that, right? And come back and say he made a mistake. He's not. And do you think no, I do not. I absolutely do not. I don't. All right? You look at this division, And right now, I see 5 teams better in this division, if not 6. I see 5 teams, if not 6, better. Colorado, absolutely better. Got the best defenseman in the game, according to NHL.com. Right? Probably got one of the best forward centers in the game, too. Right? They've got top 5 players up and down. Right? Top 20 players up and down. That team. Okay, there's one. I think Minnesota's better. I think Dallas is better. Dallas has got us in goaltending. I got to admit, I didn't think Ottinger would be as good as he is, but he is. Right? Ottinger, right? So there's 3 teams. Then you have Winnipeg and Nashville. Winnipeg is the question mark there. But when you then if you go, okay, so they're 5th, so maybe you put them 5th, right? Okay, great. We'll put them 5th. I got that. I'm with you. We'll say they're the 5th best team. They're better than Winnipeg. Winnipeg's got some issues, whatever. Or you think they're better than Nashville, which I don't. Now, in order for them to make the playoffs, only 3 teams in the Pacific make the playoffs. And I look at the Pacific, and I think 7 of the 8 teams, or 6 of the 8 teams, are better than the Blues. I think Calgary's better, though they could take a step backwards. Edmonton is better. The Kings are better. Trying to remember, make sure I get all the team. Vancouver is probably at the same spot as the Blues. So, and Seattle is probably better. I don't think Anaheim's better. And I don't think Arizona's better. So right there. So you look at that, there's at least 5 teams in the Pacific that I think are better than the Blues. So that makes it even more difficult than even if they have a down year, I don't see them not making the playoffs. Right? I don't see them being lower than 4th. I really don't. I really don't. But I don't see. I mean, you look at this. You look at the division, and overall, most people think it's a weak division. But even as a weak division, I don't see us getting there. It's going to take, to me, in order for this team to win, there's a couple things that have to happen. And it starts right at the top. And the reason, and it should have already, the step that needed to get taken didn't get taken. That's another important point. When you look at this, there's a step that should have been taken that wasn't taken. That makes me think that the things that need to happen can't and won't happen. Does the 3 people that are watching, anybody know what I'm talking about? What is a step that you think should have happened already now? And it's not fire Berube. That wasn't going to happen. But there's something else. There's a series of events that have happened where one of them was wrong. I wonder if you guys understand what I'm talking about. Let's see. Come on, guys. Help me out. Don't leave me stranded tonight. Come on, come on, come on. I don't know if Craig Mods is still watching. Nope. Nope, that wasn't it. The problem is this draft was so deep in everybody's eyes that was never going to happen. It's a good thing that could have happened. I just don't think that it was going to happen. The thing that I'm talking about should have happened and could have happened. Everything was there for it to happen, and it didn't. They went in the opposite direction of where they should have. But that's not a bad one, Roland. Not a bad one, bud. Well, I get where you're going, but that wasn't going to happen. And we don't know how much that helps the Blues because of the pay. How much could they afford to pay two coaches? And that's the issue here. That's a thing that you got to think about. So I get where you're going, E, but there's something else that was done. All right? There's something that was done that's been that you guys are missing, and I'll probably, since there's only 3 or 4 of you watching. Nope. Actually, they drafted I don't have an issue with that. I thought drafting the D that was 1 year too early. This was a weak D class. No, again, Craig, you're kind of where, see, this is something great, but it wasn't going to happen. This thing that I'm talking about absolutely could have happened and should have happened. The Blues, at the end of the season, so are you ready? You guys ready for this? The Blues, at the end of the season, fired Craig McTavish and one other assistant coach. I can't remember who that was. Right? I don't remember it off the top of my head. That was a good move. You got rid of 2 defensive-minded coaches. Okay? Like that. But what did they do after that? They hired 2 more defensive-minded coaches. That didn't do that. You took out. You said, okay, this is the problem. Let's bring in somebody else doing the same thing. No. What should have happened here is bring in an offensive style coach. This reminds me so much of Buddy Ryan. It's not even effing funny. Anybody know what I'm talking about there? Come on. Again, this was a thing that wasn't going to happen. Off the top of my head, I cannot remember who they are. I'd have to go try and look it up somewhere. Give me a moment. They brought in Mike Weber and Michael Babcock. So they got rid of Craig McTavish, and I can't think of the other guy's name. It's sitting right on me. Right, so they brought in Mike Weber, and he's a defensive guy. Played defense and was drafted by the Buffalo Sabres. He appeared in 351 games over 9 seasons. Right? He did 3 years as an assistant coach with the AHL's Rochester Americans. Then they bring in Michael Babcock as a skills coach. He spent 2 seasons running the defense and power play of the University of Saskatchewan. son of former NHL head coach Mike Babcock. They brought in defensive guys. They have everybody on here is a defensive guy. Right? Everybody on there is a defensive guy. Yes, Ott is still with us. Ott's a defensive guy. Now, he has done some miracles with the power play in the past. I'm not. How many of you, the 4 people out there watching, remember? I think I'm one of the 4. Yeah, I think I'm one of the 4. I'm not sure if it's still got me listed or not. Yeah, I think I'm probably one of the 4. Yeah, probably am one of the 4. Oh, well. Yeah, man, now I'm not. So maybe it'll go down to just 3. I don't know. But, oh, no, so it went up to 1. Oh, we got another one. Here we got Gloria Seeper. Gloria! Thank you. He's talking about ESPN radio, bud. Craig, he's talking about ESPN and Jamie Rivers on that show. I think that's what Roland is speaking to, not ESPN, the flagship TV station. I think he's speaking more to ESPN radio, knowing him like I do, right? But again, how many of you out there remember, and I think he's passed, the late, great Buddy Ryan, right? Buddy Ryan was a defensive whiz. He understood defensive football better than anybody else in his era. He's responsible for the Bears, the 85 Bears, that defensive juggernaut. He's responsible for that. When he became a head coach, he felt that he understood offense better than anybody else because I had to prepare for 16 different offenses every season. Buddy, no you don't. No you aren't. You, when it came to defense, you understood everything about it. When it came to offense, bud, you lacked. You did not understand that. You didn't understand how to use that. I think Craig Berube is becoming that same type of coach. I'm a defensive whiz, and because I'm a defensive whiz, I know offenses, so I can coach offense. And I don't think it is. I get it, Craig. Okay. I mean, that was just a question I threw out there, Lance. And Lance, if you're feeling up to it, you're welcome to come on. Come on. Right? I get it, Craig. I really do. I get it. That's what I figured, Roland. And I see Craig's point. Basically, I was thinking about this before I come on, and I don't want to get into it. I wish I still had a good place to write, because I would write a letter to Tom Stillman, Craig Berube, and the Blues, and kind of go on about how they don't look at guys like me as media. You're a fan. So what? So freaking what? Right? So what? You constantly complain that you're not making money. Well, part of the reason you're not making money is guys like me that you're not giving that chance to spread the word, good, bad, or indifferent. No press is bad press, right? You have to get into that mentality again. You have to let guys ask questions that you don't want asked. That's how That's how you build a fan base. That's how you get people excited. Right? Plain and simple. There was, how many of you out there loved the show? And I don't know, maybe you did, maybe you didn't. The West Wing, right? I was an absolute fan of the West Wing. I love, in fact, I can probably quote most episodes, right? I've seen every episode at least twice, if not more. There's one episode, I don't remember what season it was. Don't remember the episode number. I'd have to go and look. But it illustrates the point I'm trying to make. There was a reporter from the fictional Russian Goyeta. And this reporter could not attend a summit between the Russian president and the U.S. president because of their paper, right? And the U.S. went and went through and did the things that they needed to do to get her press credentials to cover the event. And during this, yeah, Sunquist isn't on a. No. He's got a full-on contract. He ain't going anywhere. Didn't he get 2 years? Or did he get 1 year or 2 years? Might have got just 1 year. But no, he's not on a PTO. They signed him. Right? But he makes the state, someone asked, what if the National Enquirer wanted to? Oh, we'd absolutely give it to him. That's what a free press society is. And then he comes back later and he tells this reporter that what their newspaper does is wrong while still giving her that's not a PTO. A PTO is a professional tryout. Right? That's what a PTO is. I can think of a couple of guys, big guys that were on PTOs with the Blues that kind of sort of stuck around. James Neal was one. Mike Hoffman was another, but Mike Hoffman was only on a PTO to wait until somebody until they could put Steen on LTIR. So it really wasn't a PTO. It was, but it wasn't type thing. And you're right, Lance. The more people that you have promoting your brand or business, the better it is. Exactly. And it doesn't, when it comes to sports teams. Now, if it was someone going around saying that your bread sucks and you're a bread shop, yeah, you don't want them doing that. However, when it comes to sports, we want people to say exactly what we see and not sugarcoat it. That is the difference. And teams don't want the bad said about them. And they think that what their ideal of professionalism is a little off from what real professionalism is. A professional journalist is going to ask the hard questions. Plain and simple. I brought this up a little while back, and I'm not going to go much longer now with just 3 people watching me, but I brought this up a little bit ago about Hitchcock with the press during the playoffs in Tarasenko. This was during the year, I'm pretty sure this was against Dallas in the second round. And in the first or second game, Tarasenko only played 11 or 12 minutes. And the press asked him, why did Tarasenko only play this much? Right? Uh-oh. Why did Tarasenko only play this much? And he basically said, I don't know. I don't control that. Well, he does control it. Next game, Tarasenko came out, they win. He plays 60 minutes. Somebody asked, he even asked them, well, how many minutes did Tarasenko play? 60 minutes. I guess that handles that question. Right? That was an understanding by Hitchcock that hard questions are going to get asked, and he has to answer them. During the playoffs, teams can't not let guys in, and that is an issue. Hey, Lance, how you doing, buddy?
Doing okay. How are you?
Not bad, man. What's on your mind?
Not much. I just wanted to weigh in on the media thing. There's at least one guy that I know of, and I'm not going to name him. I'm not that type of person to do it, and there may be two or three. But there's one guy that gets into the locker room that has no media background, has no media experience, gets in because of favors, is in the locker room doing interviews, so on and so forth, has a Twitter account, and
pretty popular
not quite
Twitter account at that too, right?
Very popular Twitter account,
I know
but never really has a podcast, never really has a show, never really puts out anything media wise when it comes to writing anything.
Nope.
Never
just
really
sells,
just sells shirts and jackets and all this stuff, and does polls and has tons and tons of followers. And explain to me, Blues, how is that meet somebody that's qualified as a media member in your eyes when guys like myself, guys like our buddy, our Blackhawks fan, why don't some NHL teams, consider people like Nick and people like people like you and people from other podcasts, especially that do a professional type of podcast. And like I put it out there, I don't know if I was able to type it or not, but it's like a business. The more people are talking about you, the better you're going to get people to think about you. And the more people, you know what? You cannot, and I agree with the Blues, you cannot give every podcast give them media credentials. You can't. And the excuse they gave, the excuse they gave me, Guy, was, well, if we give them to you, we have to give them to 15 others, and there's not as many press passes.
Well, you know what? That doesn't hold water. You know what? That absolutely doesn't hold water.
I'm not saying it does. I'm just saying that's what they told me.
I know it's what they told you. First of all, there's only about 5 solid Blues podcasts. There's only about 5 of us.
Yeah, I'd say 3 to 5.
Right? There's 5 regular shows that I can come up with. There's at least one called Blue Notes. There's me. There's Let's Go Blues Radio. There's 2 Guys, 1 Cup, but I haven't even heard much that they've done anymore. I don't know. If
they don't do anything. They just complain and get people down now for their views. But anyway.
And then there's the one I can't remember the name of it, but basically the person that's doing it is out of Philadelphia, not St. Louis, right? I had the guy in there. I can't remember the name of it now. Locked on Blues. Those are the ones that I know of. There might be 1 or 2 more out there, but I don't know how regular.
Well, you didn't count me because I'm not doing it right now. So
yeah, I know you're not, and I count you as part of this.
Yeah.
Right.
Thank
Sorry,
you.
And with all disrespect, I mean no disrespect.
No, I didn't take any disrespect. In fact, I couldn't pick you up. I went off from Wi-Fi on my phone to 5G. And it kind of messed up a little bit because the Wi-Fi wasn't working. Basically, what I said is hopefully I'll be on that list again, once I get back to doing what I need to do. And I mean, I've done, if I would have kept up with over the last 2 years, I would be well over 700-800 shows, because I mean, in the last 2 years, I've only done 1 or 2, maybe 3. And I'm still at 370 something episodes. I mean, it's a lot of episodes.
I want to know how many episodes I've done.
Oh, I can have a feeling you've done a lot of episodes.
I'm approaching 2,000 in the 5 years.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Because when you do them, in between intermissions, and you do them.
Yeah. When I was doing 4 a day.
Yeah, when
Right?
you're doing
Yeah.
4 a day, it adds up pretty dang quickly.
Yeah. How do you feel about Rivers taking over for Panger? I honestly have some mixed feelings about this. Right? I know Rivers. I have no issue with no personal. I like Rivers. I consider him a friend. He probably doesn't consider the same, but whatever. My issue is he's got a little bit of a scratchy, squeaky voice. And that is, I mean, that's just what it is. I mean, maybe voice coaching can help adjust that. I'd like him to have a deeper tone. Panger had that, but Panger is 5'5". You expect a guy that's 5'5" to have that type of higher pitch voice. They're not going to have, super long vocal cords. Rivers is 6'1", 6, right? He's my height.
Yep, he's about your height. Yep.
He's my width, my height.
Yep.
For a guy like that to not have that, to have that squeakiness of a voice, that has a little bit of a, that at that point, I think you need a voice coach, right?
I know Jamie probably a little better than you, but not a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad they got somebody that knows the blues, that knows the history of the blues, and that's all I wanted. And I think he's put in enough work with his podcast that, people that I used to go on and other guests used to go on with Kimball and Jim Cromer.
Yeah.
He's grown a lot since then, but I do understand with the voice. I know there are some people that have said that beside you about his voice. I think he'll do just fine. I think he'll grow into it. And hey, it's better than going out and get somebody that wasn't qualified and hiring them because of their gender or their race or their whatever. I'm glad they just got somebody that knows hockey, that is in there doing it. He loves the Blues. I tell you, that guy would die for the Blues. That's another former player that just cares so much about St. Louis.
Oh, I know that. And by the way, when we were talking about going back to the press box, I remember we got to sit basically right next to the press box. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
That press box was absolutely empty.
That's right. I actually was in an area next to a table where a certain guy from St. Louis, who is a big time star on the radio, big time star, and I didn't think it was true about him. I kind of did, because people told me that this guy never comes to Blues games unless it's the playoffs, and then he doesn't come to all of them. I've confirmed that. Yeah, he doesn't. He likes the Blues, but he's more of a Cardinals guy, baseball guy, and he said just doesn't come to the games. It's something important to him, but he's got media credentials.
That right there is the problem that the Blues have.
That's exactly right. You are exactly right.
And they would fill that up by telling this guy, you know what? If you don't use your pass a minimum of this many times a year, you're going to lose it.
You're going to lose it. That's right.
Right? Because there are guys out there clamoring to get one.
That's right.
Because I guarantee you, I would ask questions that need to be asked. Right? We have sat here on this show consistently, and I have brought this up with other media members, and they kind of look at me like, wow, I didn't realize that. Why hasn't one media member asked Berube why he changed his offensive strategy this year, going from bringing the puck in and shooting it down low and doing a forecheck to bringing it into the top of the circle, stopping and trying to find a pass? When I brought that up to Matt DeFranks, he kind of looked at me like the deer in the headlight looks, going, I didn't realize that. I get it, he's new, but how could you not? It was every single game. I brought this up earlier. Everyone's saying, oh, they don't forecheck. They don't have the bodies to forecheck. They don't forecheck because that's not the offensive strategy.
No, and you know what? I've seen teams that aren't huge that forecheck. You don't have to be a huge team to forecheck. No. You've got to be a tenacious team to forecheck. You've got to be.
You just have to commit to it.
You've got to commit to it, and you've got to do it. I don't care if you're 5'8". I don't care if you're 6'4". You've got to forecheck.
Yeah, you got to commit, but your offensive strategy has to be that.
It's got to be.
Right?
It has to be. Yeah.
And the Blues strategy isn't that anymore, right? And to see Cairo and Thomas and some of these other young guys get beat up for doing what they're doing when it's got to be coaching because, that's what because it's every single time.
What was that that Thomas said guy last year? We ought to know this. It's the same thing all the time.
Yeah. I keep hearing the same message.
Yeah.
It's stale.
All the time. All the time.
So, again, right, for them to win this year, yeah, we'll be calling it a night here in a few minutes. To win this year, they're absolutely going to have to change the offensive strategy. And if they do that, the defense is going to come along. And that's not what everybody's looking at. You go out there and you ask 100 people, 100 either media members or Blues fans, whatever, what is the number one problem with the Blues? And they're almost to a person going to tell you the defense.
And I think the very few that would tell you a problem, they would say it's Bennington. I don't think we would get anybody to say that the offense needs to be better. I really don't think we would get anybody to say that.
And the thing with this is, that's the defense is the scab. It's not the underlying cause. And that's what's been missed. I think by so many people.
If you have a team that can't score offensively, it puts so much more pressure on your defense and your goaltender.
If you can get out and score first, it changes the other team's style of play. They have to play a little less. They have to play a little more open offensive. They have to push the puck a little more. And when you push the puck, what do? You make mistakes. When you make mistakes, good teams capitalize on them. The Blues got their mistakes capitalized on time and time again because they didn't cycle the puck, because they didn't control the puck. They tried to play a defensive game without playing an offensive one first, and that doesn't work. Right? Plain and simple, it just doesn't work. Did I lose you, Lance?
No, you're
okay.
no, I'm just listening to you. Listen to what you're saying.
Right. That's just how I feel. They've got to address the offense, and if you address the offense, if they'd address the offense, oh my goodness! If this team scored a half a goal more per game, they would easily give up less than a half a goal less. I think that they correspond to each other, right? And you take this team, you add a half a goal and you take away a half a goal, this is a playoff team. But I just don't see it. And then the same time, special teams, right? Whatever happened on special teams, that was the other big one. This team went from being one of the best special teams to one of the worst.
Mm-hmm.
They went from having the best, tied for the best special teams in the league, to having one of the worst special teams in the league. Their power play and penalty kill percentage were absolutely abysmal. Abysmal. Let me see if I can pull it up here real quick. What do you think of Mathews, buddy?
Well, I've been telling people for months he's going to get probably 13 to 14 million. It's going to be 3 to 5 years. It's not going to be long term. And I know it destroys our AZ Sports guy out in Arizona. He was thought Mathews would come there, and several other teams did. The Detroit was trying to say they were going to get him, and he had to come first. They had to deal with him first, and then deal with their issue with Nylander, him coming due next year. I think now that they've got Mathews out of the way, they can now deal with him.
Yeah, my only thing. Look, I get the guy has earned that. So what this tells me, you have a guy that's earned his pay at $13.5 million. Yet that's 16% of your salary cap.
Yep.
Doesn't that tell you that maybe the salary cap's a little bit low?
It tells me the league's not making enough money.
See, I talked about this a little bit, and I don't want to get into it again. You have to understand, you look at these teams, right? These teams are making a lot more money than you think they are. And
Well,
they're telling you it's not. Because it's in non-hockey revenue. That's why.
Yeah, I mean, of course it is.
Right?
I'm saying, though, that I was being sarcastic when I said that.
Okay. The Blues, hard to tell sometimes. Blues were 22nd on the power play at 19.3, tied with the Jets. Right? 22nd in the power play. Penalty kill. God, you do not want to know this number. They were 30th at 72.4. The only penalty kills worse than them was the Anaheim Ducks and the Vancouver Canucks.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Their net power play. Oh my goodness, their net power play was horrible. Oh, wow. So the Blues power play was 19.3%. Their net power play was 13.5%. That accounts shorthanded goals given up.
Yeah.
Now their net penalty kill was just a tad better at 75.6, accounting for shorthanded goals they scored.
Mm-hmm.
But when you look at the league, oh wow, actually they dropped to 31st. Right? The who was it? Vancouver Canucks? Yeah, they were at 71.6 behind them. They jumped all the way up to 77.8.
Wow.
So yeah, the Blues, when it comes to both of those, absolute horrendous. They were 27th in net power play. God, you took net power play and if you took net power play and net penalty kill, added it up, I think there's a good chance the Blues are in last.
It'd be at least 30th.
No, I think they're last.
Probably.
I'm looking at it right now. So you got 75.6, 13 plus 13.5. That's 1, 7, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So you're looking at 89.1% there. The Flyers were at 79.4 at 11. That's 90. These are the teams below them. Chicago was at 79.2 plus 12.1. That puts them at what?
91.
91.3.
Yeah.
And what did I say the Blues were?
I think you said, let's see, 75, 89 or 90?
7. The Blues were 99 or
75 something and 13 point something.
Hold on. Let me do the. I'm being stupid here. 75.6 plus 13.5 is 89.1.
Yeah.
So even the Blackhawks are higher than them, right?
Mm-hmm.
79. That's in the 90s. 84, 95. 84, 95. The Ducks are the only one. The Ducks are the only one that are lower than us. They were at 72.5, so we would have been 31st.
Mm-hmm.
Columbus would have beat us. Canadians, let's see, 75.6 and 14.8. Yep, Canadians beat us. Yeah, everyone else that I can see. So we would have been 31st in overall special teams.
Mm-hmm.
That is just horrendous, bud.
Yes,
That has to change. Has to change. Well, bud, you came on late, so I'm going to have to end the show kind of early for you.
It's all right.
But we'll probably do something this weekend. Stand by. I probably won't do one tomorrow, especially after today's kind of low end. Let me say a big thank you to Erickson Krieger, Nath Papon, Lance Scott, Gloria Sieper, Roland Spink, Craig Maz, and E. Guido for giving me the thumbs up today. And did you get to see what I got in the mail?
Yes, sure did.
Right? I think I got him for a steal.
Did you get a
Right?
free boomerang? Did you get a free boomerang with him?
I wish. I bet you. I don't know what size they are, but I'm pretty sure they're small because he's a smaller guy. But if I could wear these, I'd get blades put in them. I get blades put in a heartbeat.
Yep.
Right. But yeah, these are professional skates. They're like $1,000,
Yep.
brand new. And he wore these more than one game. These are beat up. They have scratches on them. They have scrapes that you can tell that he wore these. Right. So I'm pretty excited to have them.
Yeah, it's pretty neat.
I know you're not a big Nathan Walker fan.
No, any kind of memorabilia you can get like that, it's cool to have. I don't care what the player is, if you like the player or not. I mean, not everybody can say they've got a pair of Nathan Walker skates.
Yeah. Right. Yep. So, man, have a great night, and we'll see you
Thank
next
you.
time on the BlueNote Fan Report. Aloha.
Hawaii Blues fan, we're bleeding blue with you. Let's go Blues! Let's go Blues! Let's go Blues!